I've been a trucker for years, long enough to hear every tall tale there is about seeing something crazy on the road. Every trucker has one, and you tire of hearing them pretty damn fast. You're hunched in a grease-stained diner, just trying to choke down a diesel-tasting coffee before slinking back onto the highway. But some grizzled long-haul vet on the next stool over is talking your ear off about the time he saw a UFO, or picked up a hitchhiker he couldn't see in his rear view. It's exhausting. The voices change, the faces blur together, but the stories stay the same. Only now it's my mug spitting out an outlandish tale to anyone who'll listen. And I do not like it, because I am not spinning some crazed yarn in hopes of spooking the fresh-faced truckers. I am giving them a cold, plain warning, because these things, they're out there, and then they might be coming to you. It was one of those nights so dark you'd forget there was ever any light in the world. No stars, just black, rolling clouds smothering the sky. My headlights were an island of light in the infinite black. The white lines on the road rippled past in a hypnotic flow. I would driven this stretch of road before and dreaded every minute of it. There was nothing but long grass on either side, rolling outwards in endless tufts. No landmarks, nothing interesting. Just the kind of mindless, featureless terrain that has you tasting the solitude. About the only noteworthy thing was that out there, something spooky happens to anything electrical. The old guys call it dropout. Your radio dies down to a numbing crackle. Your headlights shrink into narrow little bands. I heard explanations ranging from some weird mineral in the ground to an alien spaceship, sapping away your voltage from up above. But all that mattered was it was real. It was annoying. Because of the dropout, I barely saw the pickup. My headlights were so dim they barely caught in the glass. Was that a windshield? I hit my exhaust brake and snapped on my high beams as the rig rumbled to a halt. In what little light they could manage, I saw the white body of a pickup truck slumped on the shoulder, driver's door hanging open. I rolled in behind it, tires churning up gravel, and killed the engine. Hopping out, I craned my neck in all directions. Nobody. The truck was roadside repair set up. It had a winch in the back and a brushed steel side bin brimmed with tools, chains, and cable. There was a cartoon detail slapped on the door. Tony's Roadside Repairs. Cute. But where was Tony? I placed a hand on the hood. Cold. Hadn't run for hours. Leaning into the cab, I saw the keys dangling from the ignition. Turned a quarter. The radio spewed out a steady stream of quiet, meandering static. Maybe he went to take a leak? Hello? Nothing. All I could see around me was grass tumbling in the wind, rolling outwards in waves before giving way to darkness. I've got a job to do, I told myself as I climbed back in and peeled onto the road, my hands pinching the wheel in a vice grip. This haul won't drive itself in, I thought, as the white lines started whipping by and guilt brewed up in my stomach. I drove a short distance before reaching the tunnel. It was old school, a jagged mouth punched through the mountain with dynamite God knows how many decades ago. It yawned open, and once inside, the world shrank. The only light came from a handful of buzzing sodium lamps, caged in rusted wire and bleeding sickly orange down the cut stone walls. Maybe 3 of them still worked. The rest were dead, leaving whole stretches of the tunnel buried in thick, impenetrable dark. I plowed into the darkness, feeling like I was driving a submarine, like there was no world out there. Just me and the truck. Then, somewhere in the middle, something pierced the black. 2 amber lights blinking softly in and out. Hazard lights? Somebody broken down? That explained where Tony ended up. I tried my high beams again, but they flickered in and out before settling on a weak glow. Damn it. I pulled it over to the tunnel's side, my mirror almost touching the rock, and dug around for my flashlight. As I opened the door, the humid air draped around me like a blanket. Cold, but rich with some ungodly odor. Not quite rot, not quite mildew. It smelled almost like the ocean. Not surprisingly, my flashlight was on the blink, leaving me with a dull, flickering beam to fight the darkness. I cast it as far ahead as I could as I tried to make out the car. Hello? Anybody there? My voice bounced down the tunnel, meeting no response. But there was something shuffling around up ahead, dark silhouette by the lights. The torch beam was too weak to make out any details, But there was something there, all right. Someone. As I clattered onwards, the silhouette took on a shape. A man. He was waving, hinging his arm back and forth. There was something strange about the motion. It was slow, lethargic. Up, down, like a puppet. You okay there? As my voice reached him, he started shuffling like something was dragging him back. He stiffly collapsed into his driver's seat. I kept going, the hazard lights drawing me onwards. Blink, blink, blink. As the dull torchlight spilled along the car's silver body, I noticed it was odd. I know cars. I spent half my life staring at their taillights, cursing them under my breath. I can name makes and models by the shape alone. But this, it was nothing. Not a Toyota, a Kia, or a Chevy. Just a car. The kind of thing a kid would draw come to life. The hazard lights pulsed intensely, rippling in a fit against the dark. I looked back at my thready headlights, shook the flashlight and watched the beam cut in and out. How come this guy's not hurting for volts? I was close enough now to really look at the bodywork. It wasn't metal. The torchlight splattered beneath its surface, filtering red, unveiling a twisted network of fibers, veins, coursing through the panels. And the whole thing was moving, undulating gently in and out. Breathing. My feet froze to the ground. I panned the flashlight over the driver's side window. The body in the driver's seat was pale, paper white, clouded eyes bulging from their sockets, mouth hanging agape. On his shoulder, a round white patch was sewn onto the jumpsuit. Tony's roadside repairs. A dull amber light began to leak from his open mouth. I should have ran. I was too late. Something long spewed from the body of the car, tearing and whipping through the damp air. I was yanked off the ground before I knew what was happening, an immense pressure crushing my ankles together, grinding bone against bone. It had me. I clawed at the tarmac as I was dragged back, losing fingernails but desperately trying to fight the pull. I kicked. I thrashed. I screamed. I twisted my body until the boots were wrenched clean off my feet. Tentacle flung them into the darkness and flailed in anger. I didn't waste a second. I bolted away with a speed I didn't know I had, body electric with fear. I ripped open the door of my truck and threw it into reverse. Stomping the accelerator through the floor mat, I watched the dial spike into the red. The engine shuddered to the point of stalling, wanting to die right there. But I willed it to go on. Out there, the car was coming after me. Not driving but walking, scuttling on a tangle of segmented legs sprouting from its undercarriage. The headlights pushed out of the body on stalks, pulsing with furious yellow light. I couldn't even watch it chase me. My eyes darted between my mirrors. I could barely make out the white flanks of my trailer, but I had two. I frantically steered and countersteered, keeping it in line. I jackknifed in the tunnel. I was dead. But then my mirrors caught them. More lights. Amber. Flashing. Another figure chiseled out of the darkness, drunkenly waving its arm. This time, I really saw it. He was little more than a skeleton. Long, desiccated hair plunged from a yellowed skull. The tatters of a denim jacket and what looked like bell-bottoms hung from the bones. I saw that the bones were lashed together by a network of little tentacles, their tips gently glowing, blinking in amber. From the neck, the tentacles braided together into a thick, glistening appendage, feeding back into the car. Angler fish. Poor fellow was the lure. This car was old. Big round headlights. Wood panels. Rear fins. It was from back when cars used to have edges. My trailer clipped its cadaverous lure as I shot past, shattering bone into puffs of powder. Shriek, wet and angry, rattled through the tunnel. It yanked its broken lure inside itself and spat out a crazed, thrashing tentacle. It seized my mirror, tearing it from the cab and tossing it into the void. But I was clear. I kept reversing. The truck was screaming at me, warning lights I would never seen before erupted on my dash in an expensive rainbow. The engine shuddered so hard I thought it would leap out of the hood. But I kept going until the rock of the tunnel peeled away and the black night sky rolled above my head. Then I stopped. Tunnel mouth yawned. Within its shadow, amber lights flickered. 10, 12, 15, I wasn't sure. How many of those things are in there? Needless to say, I skipped the tunnel. I backtracked until I had the weakest bar of signal and called the cops, then spent the rest of that night with my eyes glued to the windshield. My head dipped once or twice, but I wouldn't let myself sleep. The bright steel morning singed my eyes by the time the patrol car trundled in next to me, the cop tapping my window, lukewarm coffee in hand. They knew about Tony the mechanic. He was reported missing the previous night. They went in, scoured the tunnel with their spotlights, but found nothing. That didn't surprise me. They acted funny. Sure, they tried to look taken aback by my story, but every raised eyebrow was well practiced. Your mind plays tricks on you in the dark, and you sure you weren't drinking? Rehearsed to a T. They know what's in that tunnel. Dealing with cases like me, like Tony, that's just Tuesday morning. So all I can do to help anyone is warn them. You see a broken down car on the side of the road, hazard lights blinking away in the dark, you might feel like stopping. Like being the good Samaritan, ever eager to help change a tire or lend out your jumper cables. But these creatures evolved to feed on that very kindness. And they're hungry, very hungry. Do not stop.